Welcome to lesson 1. What is JShell and why use it? Now, prior to JShell, when writing a typical Java program, one would write the source code using a text editor or IDE and so on, compile it, save it, fix the errors, run it, fix errors, compile, and so on. But what if you just wanted to test a small snippet of code, possibly even a line of code, say System.out.println hello world? Well, in an IDE, I typically have to go and create a project. So I'm just going to call this project miscellaneous, just like that, MISC, and go finish. I'm not going to create a module. And then I would go and create a class. Let's say I call this class main. And we know it's going to have a public method. And there's my main. And now I would then have to put the code in here. So it says System.out.println. Let's use the typical example in most of the books, hello world. It will suffice for what we're going to do here. So, and then we would typically save it. Mine is set automatically to save and compile. A lot of these steps would be of the compile and so on would be done automatically on your JDE, on your IDE. And then I'll just run it and there it is. Now that is with a IDE. Now if I was using an editor, I'll show you the steps next. With a simple text editor, I would type in my program, public class, and let's call this one main2. I'm going to call main2 not to clash with the other one, because I'm going to most probably store it in the same directory. And then I'm going to say public static void main string args, and in each method I'm going to say system, I'm typing wrong, system.out.println hello world, something like that. And I would go save it. So I'm going to save it under the same directory where I've saved the other one. So I'm going to go to where I've actually got it. There it is. And I'm going to put it under the source directly. You'll see I've already got a main Java there. That was an example of my IDE. So I'm going to call this a main.java because that's what I called it on the class definition. As you can see, main.java, and I can already see there's a mistake there. So I'm just going to save that. And then what I have to do is I've got to open my terminal. So I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to open my terminal under the same directory, or my project in other words. Let me just go there. I'm in the wrong place here. And obviously according to where you'll see there it is, my miscellaneous. And I'll open it there. You could do it through commands. I'm just doing it this way. I'm going to make this bigger so that you guys can see it better. Okay. And then what I would do is I would compile it, and I want to compile it. My source files are here, and this is main2 that I'm working on now. And I want to do the same as on the IDE. I want to put my class files over there. And you'll see the first one that I did with the IDE is there. So I want to put it under the bin directory. So I would say javac, and I want it minus D, the directory. I want it under the bin directory, and my file is under source, and its name is main2.java. and if it compiles and everything fine, it seems to have compiled. There's got no error. So to run it, I would say Java, because it's under the bin directory. Let me just show you there. If I go show you there, there's my bin directory, and I compiled it, and there now my main2 is over there. And there's my previous one that I did with the IDE, and this one I did with the javac command. So I'm going to go back to my terminal, my console, and I'm going to run it now. So I'd say Java minus class path, which is CP for class path, and I would then say where the class path is, and I'm telling it's under the bin directory, and the name of the file is main2 of my class, a Java class, and there it is. So every time, if I just wanted to test a small snippet of code, I would then have to go through these steps. Now let me show you what I mean. If I go back to my main class, say I wanted now two variables and add them together. Int x is equal to 10 and int y is equal to say 20. And now I want the result of the two. System.out.println, and we're just going to say, let's say y minus x in this case, and I would then save it, run it. Obviously my IDE does it all together, and there it is. It gives me 10. So 20 minus 10 is 10. And if I had to use my other way, my text editor, now to do that, I'm just going to copy the code there. I would do that. I would save it, go to my terminal, compile it first, javac, where I wanted minus D, the bin directory, and where that file is. In this case is main java 2. And then if I wanted to run it, I'd have to tell it where that class path is, bin, and the name, and there it is. Now Java saw that this is a lot of unnecessary work, in the sense that every time I would have to create, well, with the idea project and everything in my if I using the editor and so on, I could use a temporary just to play around and learn the Java code. This year I have to create a class, and with a IDE I'd have to create a project and everything just to mess around with code and test it. So they made it much easier. When you want test code, you just use JShell. It's a new tool in Java from Java 9. JShell. You open JShell. Now, if I want to do the hello world example, I would just say System.out.println brackets without the class and all those other things. Hello world, and just have to get it right, otherwise you'll also get errors, and we'll come to that later. Let me just do it properly like it's supposed to be, and there you see hello world. So if I wanted to know Java's, what's it, int x was equal to 10 or 20, I can't remember, and I say int y is equal to 20, and if I want System.out.println, let's say y minus X, and there's JShell working, and I can test little snippets of code in Java using JShell. And to exit JShell, like / like that, and I just type exit, and goodbye, I'm out of JShell. So as a summary, JShell helps you try out code and easily explore options as you develop your program. So you use JShell to experiment with snippets of code and so on. It's a nice tool to use when you're learning Java, or there's a specific, just a small piece of code that you want to try out. JShell doesn't replace the IDE. As you develop your program, you paste the code to JShell, try it out, and then paste the working code from JShell into your editor or IDE and so on. We've come to the end of this lesson where I've introduced you to JShell. We looked at why JShell can be a handy tool. I hope you learned something from this lesson. Please be free to put your comments in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Press the like and notify buttons. See you at the next lesson where we'll carry on exploring JShell.